I personally don't have any experience of money angels or anything else. I think sometimes, again, that can be a symbolic sense of God's provision, and that as God does promise to provide, if we seek first his kingdom, everything else will be added. There must be a vehicle of that provision. And that might be that the treasury, a room of heaven, which there is a treasury room of heaven, that might be not to do with money per se, but to do with God's provision, God's blessing, and that we would have all that we need to fulfill all we're called to do. So I don't really see it as specifically, oh, God created a whole load of angels to make money or whatever. But I do think that angels are involved in God's provision, as in, you know, when one of the prophets, I think it was Elijah, was under the tree, even ravens came to feed him, you know, so creation responded. So, you know, God's provision can be released in many, many different ways. And there can be angelic sense, you know, that brings that provision to us. But I don't think it's specifically about a money economy system, because heaven obviously doesn't function on pounds, shillings and pence, or whatever it is now, you know, or dollars and cents, or whatever, you know, euros. Heaven functions in a totally different economy, which doesn't require money. But the earth does require money at the moment. So God provides for us through whatever. Now, in the future, I don't believe we're going to need money. And I do believe as we become associated more with a well-being economy and the kingdom and ecclesias operating as embassies of heaven, I'm not sure money will be part of it, because we will be able to create what we need. You know, it's like the Star Trek universe. They had a replicator that just made stuff, you know, and it's like, I think we can create things. Jesus created, changed water into wine. He created and multiplied food. You know, the oil never ran out in the cruise of oil. So there's testimony of God's provision in lots of different ways, that I think eventually there will be no need for money. And if we were operating in covenant, there would be no need for money. Money is a substitute for helping each other with what we've got. That doesn't require payment. It requires barter, if you like, you know, and that's what a covenantal system function. What's mine is yours. What's yours is mine. We do not need to make profit from one another. We're here to bless one another. And I think the blessing, God's wanting to bless all the families of the earth, is nothing to do with everyone having a lot of money. It's to being who they are and fully functioning in that reality, and therefore not needing money. You know, and I think there is a lot from the DIY system, which is all about making money. And I think the world system, economy works on profit. And if you're going to profit, someone else is going to suffer. And that's how that system works. It thrives in competition and conflict. It really doesn't operate in covenant, which is about blessing. You know, God's new covenant is about loving kindness, covenant love, you know, which is all about blessing. So I think we will move, if we're going to move to ultimately a kingdom governmental economy, it won't be about physical money, you know. And if you think of everyone fulfilling their destiny, then no one will need to be paid for it. But if everyone fulfills their destiny, everyone will have no need for anything. The early church, which obviously a pale imitation of what the reality will be, still had some good things associated with it. In other words, no one had need. They made sure no one went without, because they looked after each other and blessed each other. And I think that's ultimately where we're heading. You know, it's hard to visualize, because we all live within a system that is functioning on money and wealth, and it drives everything, and competition and all of that. But that, I believe, is gonna end. You know, because it's a world system which is being shaken right now, and eventually will be totally shaken. And what's left is the kingdom. Well, the kingdom doesn't function in that way. And I think Jesus illustrated that when he paid you know, in the parable where, you know, the master employed a whole load of people and then paid them all the same, whether they worked for 5 minutes or a whole day. Now, they didn't like that, because the man's perspective is, well, that's unfair. I did more than him and he's got the same as me, because we all value it on work, and work has been commodified rather than being a blessing that I can serve. So by me doing something that serves and blesses you, that removes all of the product, and I'm being paid for this. I don't need to be paid to be me, because if you're you and I'm me and we're all each other, as we should be in family, then we'll all look after one another, you know. So if someone's got a source of water, they're not going to keep it to themselves, ration it and make people pay for it. They will bless people with their water, as the people who are producing food will bless people with their food. And everyone will have everything they need within that economy, because our motive for it is not to have more, and as so someone else can have less. And I'm going to profit or exploit those so I can have more. We only have need of that which we have need of to fulfill our destiny, you know, and we need to see it from a totally different perspective. See, if I was to build a house, I would need the money to pay for the builder and the materials to build the house. If I could create a house, I wouldn't need any money. I can just call it into being and there it is, created. So we're going to move into a creative economy that we can totally create and create what we need and bless each other with it. And I may have creative ability to create some things that other people have creative ability to create other things, and we all bless each other, because that's what family does. You know, I think the opposition of nations and corporations and competition and fighting over trade deals and everyone trying to make profit, somewhere at the bottom of that, someone is being exploited so that they're making something for nothing or as slaves so someone else can profit. That's not God's intention. God's intention that we will be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and bring that dominion of the kingdom of blessing. So no, I don't believe that angel has money angels, because money, you know, although angels can be associated with blessing us and empowering us and providing for us and equipping us, you know, it's again using our grid of reference for this world to explain the spiritual reality, because it's something that helps us see. If there's a treasury of heaven, then we must have a monetary system. No. Why? That's just because we're trying to map earthly things onto heavenly things. The treasury room of heaven does not need to be paid for in the same way, you know, because I legislate for my life to have all that I need to fulfill all I'm called to do, destiny wise, you know, and that provision is from the treasury of heaven, but it's to enable us to fulfill our destiny. And therefore it's all that I need, or not all that I might want, you know, and that's where we've got to separate our wants, which may be part of the wrong mindset of the DIY system that says to be happy, I need more. And that's what the advertising industry does, creates a scenario that you always need more to be happy, more of the things that they want to sell you, of course. And to buy them to be happy, you have to have more and more money. So you spend more and more time working to get the money to buy the things that you haven't got the time to enjoy, because you spend all your time working. That's what the system does. It causes you to be a slave to the machine. God wants us to live in rest and in well-being, not to be slaves to work, because I need more, because I won't be happy unless I've got more. We need to get rid of that mentality and really start to get a kingdom mentality, which is about blessing and serving each other, not about how much we've got. You know, because someone can be a billionaire and be totally unhappy, as a lot of them are, because their whole thing is thriving on getting more money. They can never spend the money they've got in reality, but they need more and more and more and more, because money and power and all the system is perpetuated, and that it thrives, you know, in conflict and divisions, separation, and all of those things. As soon as you start together, come together in a real union and unity of heart, mind, and purpose, money takes on a whole less of a perspective, of that sort of perspective.